Back here on the Lynn Hayes Freeland Show. You know, I really like to tease you guys, which is why earlier in the show I said that Denzel Washington was going to be here. So physically, he's not here in our studios. However, he was in the city recently to make a very special announcement. He's spearheading a fundraising drive. Now, before we talk about what that's all about, let's take a look at what happened the day Denzel was in Pittsburgh. For years, this sign was the only indication that this was the childhood home of August Wilson. But now, with the support of some very big donors, that's all going to change. 1727 Bedford Avenue in the Hill District is being transformed from the house where August lived into the August Wilson House, home to theatrical productions, exhibits, literary workshops, and classes, a place to make sure future generations know what August Wilson stood for.
It's surreal. It's just cultivating a relationship with a major donor, to cap off this incredibly long journey.
Oscar-winning actor Denzel Washington spent a lot of time in Pittsburgh while filming the movie Fences. The words of August Wilson have spoken to Washington so much so, he's leading the way to raise monies to complete the transformation of the August Wilson home.
I love August Wilson. He touches my soul, our souls, in a way that no one I've ever read has. And this is just like coming home to me. I feel so comfortable here. And
I'd be very proud of it, and but, you know, humbling. He would be very humble behind this.
There were no shovels or lifting of soil at today's event. This was a ground blessing, not the typical groundbreaking.
1, 2, 3! Well, it starts with August, and you know, and the wonderful people here and their commitment that we see today to this community. I'm glad to be a part of that.
August Wilson once said, "What I want to do is place the culture of Black America on stage, and the hope for the August Wilson home is to keep it there."
He's got to go because we got people inside waiting to give us money.
Okay. Lynn Hayes Freeland, KDKA TV News. Nothing like a little pressure from Denzel Washington. Paul Ellis is here. He's the executive director as well as the attorney for the August Wilson House. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Lynn. Thank you.
So let's go back just a little bit, because certainly I know of your relationship. You are biologically related to August Wilson. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, it's a little different when you grow up with somebody infamous like that. You know, it doesn't quite feel the way you would think it is. You know, when my grandmother, his mother, passed away in 1983, we came. We had annual gatherings at my mom's house every year. So he would just come by. We would stay for a few days. He would tell stories. He would, you know, let us know about characters that he was working on. And then the next year, we would see those same characters with those same stories on Broadway.
Wow.
So it was fascinating to watch, you know, and he loved telling stories. It was just nonstop. It just never turned off for him.
You know what I remember the most about August is along those lines, because he would start to talk. And it was almost like there used to be that old commercial, when E.F. Hutton talks, everybody listens. But that's kind of how it was, because August would speak so graphically that you would visualize what he was talking about.
Right. Yeah, he was very descriptive with his stories. And a lot of times when he would tell the stories, you have to keep in mind, these are all things that we were hearing for the first time.
Okay.
So these characters that you see in King Hetley and Radio Golf and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and Jitney, they were new to us when they were first presented to us. But then they took on a life of their own through their Broadway productions and tours around different theater production companies around the country. Just fascinating stuff.
Now, when you meet somebody for the first time, and you say, August Wilson was my uncle, how do they react to that? How did they respond to that?
They usually go, really? And then, you know, then you can see the questions coming in their eyes, you know. Then if they have time, and depending on how I know them, and it's, you know, what was it like? It was surreal. And I've told various people what it was like, because it was quite different.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't a celebrity type of feel.
Okay. Well, here's the thing, because
but it was different.
You tell me if I'm wrong here, but in my dealings with him, August Wilson never presented himself as a celebrity.
Right.
That's just not the way he came across.
Everybody who comes across him, everybody who met him, they all say the same thing. Very down to earth, very humble, very personable. They all say that because that's exactly how he was. He was happy just if you were willing to listen to his stories and laugh at his jokes.
Then he was happy.
Right,
You know, our
right.
time goes so fast because you're here to talk about the August Wilson House.
Right.
We didn't even get to that yet, so we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the fact that the ground blessing happened, that Denzel came, brought some checks with him, and we'll talk about that vision. So we got a lot to do, so don't go away when the Lynn Hayes Freeland Show continues.